This is number one bullshit.
So the one, the only, the fathead himself, Khabib Nurmagomedov, has recently done a Russian interview, though there are English subtitles, don't worry. And he is going to say a lot of dumb things. We're going to break it all down. This could be a long one. Pause, no Jones, like and sub before we get into it. Comment, share, blah, blah, blah. Let's go. So we'll start with something positive, actually, because Khabib Nurmagomedov kind of craps on Jon Jones, and to be fair, he's one of the few fighters I've seen that has kind of been honest about Jon Jones. He doesn't call him, you know, what we all say on MMA YouTube, which is a woman beater and all this stuff, but he does admit that Jones is past his prime. Let's listen. And again, there are subtitles at the bottom, so sorry if you guys are... I'll try to translate what they're saying once I pause it, but let's get right into it.
Джонс завершил карьеру, и ты очень тепло написал, ты прям пожеланием оставил. Многие удивились, что так прям тепло оставил отзыв.
А что я такой
плохой человек? Ты же всегда подчеркивал, мы не друзья, потому что Кормье, вот мой друг, ну типа я вот условно класс признает класс. Вот так
и вообще вот ты как фанат, условно говоря, ММА, как считаешь, он должен был все-таки с Аспинеллом подраться или...
So basically, they're asking him, you know, should he have fought Aspinall? Did he retire at the right time? You know, I guess Khabib did put a message out about Jon Jones. The Khabib-Daniel Cormier connection, I think, kind of prevents Khabib from being a super glazer like a lot of these other fighters. So that's why he doesn't really praise him as much as you'll hear like a Israel Adesanya or a Leon Edwards do, like I've seen in recent interviews from these guys.
Не то, что его сколько, 38 ему?
Около.
Не, он-то давно ушел. Давайте будем честны. Но он за 5 лет сколько боев взял? Один бой?
2, по-моему.
Один или 2 боя за 5 лет.
Да, 2 вроде.
Он-то давно ушел. И последние бои тоже были с Сантосом и с Рейсом. Тоже неоднозначные. Такие, знаешь, как.
So yeah, I mean, those last... Everyone wants to talk about Jon Jones, bro. He's the... Brother, Thiago Santos and fucking Dominic Reyes were close fights. To the point where, and you know, it's always interesting. I don't know how this became a Jon Jones video, but it is interesting to think, what if Jon Jones would have stood at light heavyweight when the new era guys like Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska, and these newer guys were coming up? It would have been interesting, but let's keep going here.
Ну, свой пик он давно прошел.
His prime.
Подрался он с Сирил Ганом, я думаю, что они дали
his prime. Oh my God! Pause. His prime was clearly behind him. I'm just saying, Khabib is cooking, but this is the only positive thing that Khabib says. The rest of the stuff he says throughout this interview is, but let's start with the positive. So, yeah, Khabib is basically saying, look, his prime was well past him. You know, he fought Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos to close decisions, to controversial decisions. Let's keep going.
У каждого человека есть свой пик. И он ее давно прошел.
He was long past his prime.
Должен был он со Спиналом драться или нет, это вопрос, ну, может быть, будет всегда стоять. Но это один вопрос. Но другой вопрос, когда Аспинал тоже свой путь пройдет, и Джон Джонс свой путь пройдет, когда у них обоих закончится, вот тогда поймут люди, кто на каком уровне. Так что Аспиналу, чтобы до его уровня дойти, до наследия, очень тяжело будет. В данный момент, да, для меня.
I actually agree. Why does the fuck doesn't it pause? I actually agree. Yeah, you know, it would have been pretty convenient if Tom Aspinall was able to fight a pretty big name like a Jon Jones so that he could have a bit more legacy. But it is what it is. You know, it's not as if heavyweight is gleaming with legends right now, but let's keep going.
Меня Аспинал лучше тяжело с мира.
Base Khabib. Finally, somebody says it. Fuck Jon Jones. You're not the best heavyweight on the planet. Fathead says it himself. It is Tom Aspinall. But again, we're starting off light. We're gonna, you know, it's like when you compliment somebody, then you're gonna tear them down. So I'm buttering up Khabib. Now I'm gonna cook him. So let's let him continue, though.
Но то, что достиг Джон Джонс последние 15 лет в UFC, сколько он, 17 лет? Да,
у него
2008 года.
У кого больше? У него больше всего защит было титула. Или...
Так что, ну, тяжело с Джон Джонсом сравниваться. И то, что я не знаю.
All right, I'm bored of the glaze now. Shut up. All right, let's skip ahead actually to like around here, right? So we're gonna skip ahead. He's going to discuss the way the UFC treats Russian fighters and how badly they treat Russian fighters. The Russian fighters, they're not getting everything they want. Now, I'm going to refute his claims here, but let's listen. So, around this point, he starts talking about it. Okay, here it is. Sorry. Here it is. Yeah, I didn't know he was going to yap that long about Jon Jones at the end. Here's the question. So, you can see right here it says, don't you feel like the UFC these days is kind of annoyed by how many Russian fighters are on top? This is like, the question in itself is retarded. I can't wait to hear Khabib's answer because you already know it's going to be just as retarded as the question itself. But you got the Russian Steiny here asking, don't you feel like the UFC these days is annoyed? No, they're not. Just simply put, they're not. But we'll get into it. Let's listen.
Вот UFC как будто сейчас вообще ситуация из-за российских бойцов раздражает их. Что, условно говоря, Анкалаев чемпион, Ислам чемпион, Евлоев сейчас на подходе, там, Хамзат и Умар с Петей тоже. Нет ощущения, что они как будто всегда отдаляют бойцов из России к этому титулу или пытаются какие-то преграды.
Yes, they're delaying Russian fighters' path to the title. Yeah. Sure, kid.
Сделать.
Я думаю, что это ощущение появилось последние где-то 2 года из-за того, что они Евлоеву.
Now, okay. And you guys know I've been publicly saying this. I think Movsar Evloev should have got the title shot. For sure. 1,000% he should have got the title shot. But obviously their plan was to do the Aaron Pico fight. The winner of that fight would presumably face Volkanovski. I think it would match up. The fight, when was it going to happen? This month, which is July. So July, August, September, October, November, December, it could have happened. That's 5 months. Not a bad turnaround. I doubt Evloev or Pico would have taken a lot of damage knowing about how those guys fight. Maybe Pico could have done a bit more damage than Evloev because he actually has KO power. But nonetheless, I agree. Evloev should have gotten the title shot. But he literally just pulled out of his last fight against Aaron Pico. So I honestly think that would even lessen his chance of getting a title shot since the UFC, they're trying to give you one more big win before presumably you get your title shot. And you fumble that. So, look, I think the Aaron Pico fight should not have even been happening. But come on, man. I mean, it's like 6 or 5 cancellations, 11 in total. But I think like half of them is Evloev's fault. He's so inactive as well. It's not like he's a Diego Lopez who's saving cards. He's stepping up on short notice. He's stepping up. He's facing all these guys. The guy fights once a year. He gets a pinky toe injury and he pulls out of his fights. I can see why they wouldn't be rushing to give this guy a title shot. And he's also a pedo. I'm just saying he is. So, it is what it is.
9-0, пацан.
Да.
Не дали. Анкалаева держали.
Блин, очень прям...
Yeah, they were stalling Ankalaev. So let's talk about this, right? Because everyone, all these people, they want to say, even, I know MMA Joey's a big proponent of this, that fat retard, that he says that, Ankalaev, the UFC, they were trying to, he calls Alex Pereira an industry plan, and he tries to make it seem like the UFC were really delaying Ankalaev winning the belt. Hey, folks, I don't know if you know this, but Magomed Ankalaev already fought for the belt against Jan Blachowicz not that long ago. And he fumbled, and it was a draw. And so the UFC, rightfully so, were not very happy that their main event for the vacated light heavyweight title ended up being a fucking draw. So you know what they did? They said, Ankalaev, go fuck yourself, which I'm pretty sure after that fight, I don't know how long he was gone after that fight. He might have been pretty inactive after that. Wasn't he gone for like a year? I could be completely wrong, but we ain't seen Ankalaev after that. Then obviously Hill and Glover happens, whatever the case is there. Then Ankalaev, he has the whole thing with Johnny Walker where he illegally knees him. Then they rebook it. He KOs Johnny Walker. So let me get this straight. You guys wanted Ankalaev coming off of a draw, a no contest. He might have had something in between the Johnny Walker fight and the Jan Blachowicz fight, but a draw, a no contest. Then he KOs Johnny Walker, folks. Johnny Walker. And now it's, he should have got the title shot. Now, I know Khalil Roundtree didn't deserve it. Don't get me wrong. He definitely did not deserve it. But I'm just saying it's not some travesty. The Roundtree fight was kind of short notice anyways, the Roundtree-Pereira fight. That was a bit short notice, I heard. So it's one of those where it's like, Ankalaev, it's like people forget he already got the title shot. He was coming off of a Johnny Walker win. Then, okay, now face Rakic. He faces Rakic, and even that was unimpressive. He beats him in what, a shitty decision? Whoa! You beat Rakic via decision when Yuri Prohaska had already KO'd the same guy that you just took to a 30-27 boring-ass decision. Oh, but Ankalaev, they delayed his title win. Then he gets the title shot, and he proceeds to have the worst fight for the worst UFC title fight in UFC history. One of, all right, there's been worse. Adesanya versus Romero, I know. But I'm just saying, can we stop? Who cares? They should have cut Ankalaev, bro, for all I care. Honestly, he sucks. But we're making it seem like it's some great travesty that the UFC delayed his title shot. He was coming off of a Johnny Walker win. Stop this. Honestly.
Побежали потом с Макаевым.
Ситуация.
Makachev, again, that's another situation where I said, look, they should re-sign Makachev. But he's another guy. Khabib, you're naming all shit fighters. I mean, they're not shit. Right? They're not shit, all right? But, insane stutter. But they're very, very, very boring. Now, I know Makachev, again, I've said this, they should re-sign him. But if Makachev was truly being a piece of shit to, like, the matchmakers, if he was... That could be anything from him turning down fights to him, like, just mistreating staff to anything. I'm just saying, I think it's a double standard because Jon Jones is allowed to beat his wife and do all these crazy things and make the UFC look bad, but Makachev can't just be a big meanie backstage. I get that, but I'm just saying, Makachev, he was great. But come on, guys. Like, come on. It's not like, oh, they cut Makachev because he was Russian. They cut him because he was a piece of shit, apparently. Again, double standard. I know Jon Jones is also a piece of shit. I'm just saying, man. Like it's not this great travesty that they're doing right now to these Russian fighters. It's not some insane travesty. How dare they? Like, and the problem is too, like, you would expect, like, okay, Diego Lopez on the come up, KOing people, submitting people. Gene Silva on the come up, KOing people, submitting people. Ilia Topuria on the come up, KOing people, submitting people. Movsar Evloev on the come up, split decisions. Muhammad Mokaev on the come up, split decisions. Robberies. Close fights, boring fights. Crowd booing the fuck out of the fight. Magomed Ankalaev, Johnny Walker KO, and then a fucking Rakic win, where it was a boring decision. This is what I'm saying. You're a UFC fighter. You know you have to be... At least Islam Makachev, who, by the way... Oh, my God. Don't even get me started on Islam Makachev, because if you want to cry about... You know, the Russian fighters don't get treated well. Islam Makachev got a title shot off of a Bobby Green win. But he beat who? Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Drew Dober, Armin Tsarukyan a couple years before that, a couple months before that. Whoa, okay, and he also popped. He also popped for freaking. But you know, I've said, I've excused it, and I've said that, you know, well, it was a thing for a heart that he was prescribed, like a heart condition or whatever. Nonetheless, right? Islam Makachev has been given a lot of privilege. Again, the guy literally got a title shot off of a Bobby Green win. Now, I know there were no other super clear contenders, but it would have been kind of nice to see Makachev face a Gaethje or a Poirier or someone like that first. The same way that Charles Oliveira had to beat everybody, had to beat guys like Tony Ferguson, had to beat guys like Kevin Lee. And, okay, to be fair, he didn't have to go on a crazy... But still, and to be fair, Chandler... He did get a title shot off of a Dan Hooker win. But still, you understand my point. Islam is treated the same way as everybody else. You know, if the UFC likes you, they like you. They're going to give you a title shot. It is what it is. I wouldn't even say there's Russian privilege. I mean, they definitely favor the Russian fighters. They definitely favor fighters. I mean, bro, if it's a fight in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia, the Russian fighter, the Middle Eastern fighter is getting the decision. Let's just be honest here. If you guys watch the sport, you fucking know. So don't act stupid, all right? But Islam Makachev is not being suppressed by the UFC. They're giving him everything he wants. He's defended his belt like 3 times. He won his belt in Abu Dhabi. He defended it like twice in Abu Dhabi. Cut this shit out, man. What are we doing here?
Потом, там кто еще идет? Ну, у Хамзата там свои там. Виза, не виза.
Да.
И вот чуть-чуть...
Oh, Russian fighters, but Khamzat Chimaev, literally, again, I didn't even mention... Bro, Khamzat Chimaev, I can get into this whole thing, is given a title shot off of constant pullouts, constant visa issues. Like, the guy hangs out with a warlord, apparently. They don't reprimand him for that. I know there's really nothing they can do, but it's like, come on, guys. The Russian fighters, blah, blah, blah. Khamzat's super inactive. He's super inactive, and he's pulled out of a lot of fights, and he's missed weight, and he's messed up a couple of cards, at least one. I mean, he messed up the Diaz card, right? So that's one. And he's missed weight a couple times, you know. He's pulled out with injuries and with sicknesses and illnesses. It's not like insane. It's not like, whoa, he has 35 pullouts, but he's not really been the model fighter for the UFC. You know, so for you guys to be like, the Russian fighters, they're being mistreated. Off of what? Like, what evidence? Yes, should Evloev get a title shot? Yes. Can I also see why they're not giving him a title shot? Also, yes. Should Ankalaev have gotten a title shot maybe a bit sooner? Maybe. But his best win was Johnny Walker up until that point. It's like, you have to understand there are contexts to things. It's not just black and white. Oh, he should have got a title shot. He should get a title shot. No, there's more to break down when it comes to these situations. So,
она как-то вот это все в совокупности, такое ощущение, она рисует по-любому. Это в плане справедливости, а в плане бизнеса, не будем говорить про спорт, в плане бизнеса они ведут ее так, как они ведут. Ну, с одной стороны, тоже можно понять. Вот, например, был Перейра чемпион, да?
Да.
Как боец пришел, Ankalaev его просто разнес.
Yeah, Ankalaev destroyed Pereira. Yeah, Ankalaev came in and destroyed Pereira. Yeah, the Ankalaev just came in and he beat him via fucking split decision. It might have not been a split, but it was a close fight, guys. What are we fucking doing here? I thought he clearly won, but you can't still... You can say, oh, he clearly won, but it was still close. Same with Umar Nurmagomedov. Same with some of these other fights. Stop it. He came in and destroyed him. It's like, and I have this take, and I feel like it's a good take. Well, it's my take, so every take I have is good. I'm kidding. But, you know, there's certain MMA YouTubers or MMA fans, right, where they put so much weight on picks and picks and picks. For example, there's certain MMA YouTubers that picked Ankalaev to win, right? And when he won, they were all celebrating, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I got my pick right. I told you guys. I told you so. Ankalaev did it. I told you so. Meanwhile, if you actually look at their breakdowns of the fights, I think Ankalaev is going to ragdoll Pereira. He's going to take him down a bunch of times. He's going to TKO him on the ground. He's going to KO him on the feet. He's going to get a submission. He's going to 50-45 Pereira. He's going to make Pereira look like he's going to dominate Pereira, right? And he doesn't do that. He has a close fight with Pereira where they both look shit, to be honest with you. Both of them did. It was a pathetic performance from Alex Pereira and Ankalaev. Pathetic, right? One of the worst title fights I've ever seen. And they say, I got my pick right. Yeah, let's go. Ankalaev wins. The fight sucked, and your prediction was wrong because you said he was going to dominate Pereira. But I just wanted to go on that little side tangent because it does piss me off when I see them say that, the fans and the MMA YouTubers that say shit like, I told you so. No, you didn't. You said Ankalaev was going to KO Pereira in round 3, and he fucking beat him by a fucking shitty split decision. So get out of here with that shit, man. That's just a side tangent, but... Man, I hate when MMA YouTubers do that shit. They put so much weight on picks. What about your actual breakdown of the fight? What about your actual analysis of the fight? I know I don't have the best picks, but sometimes my breakdowns are pretty freaking good, I like to say. So, it is what it is. Let's keep going.
И того нету, и этого нету. Да, Мухаммад чемпион, но интересен ли он людям? Вот же вопрос.
Не раскачивай.
Просто по своей натуре он такой человек, спокойный, занимается своими делами. Но как боец он лучше. А UFC хотят, чтобы ты был и как боец, и чтобы ты был интересным. Вот проблема наших бойцов. Возьмем того же Мавсара. Он не будет играть эти бизнес-игры. Он не будет. Он не делает.
Yeah, he won't play those business games. He'll just marry children, basically. I mean, bro... And people are going to get mad at me saying that. He was 23, and he literally said on a stream with Sneeko that, you know, you gotta kind of mold them into the wife you want them to be. And I met her when she was 17. Like, come on, guys. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, honestly? But, you know, it is what it is. He's a good fighter, Evloev. I'm just saying. There's not much to market there. Maybe if you try to play that role and be like, I'm the Predator, Movsar Evloev, and I'm walking out with Pat Barry, and maybe if you try to play that angle, it would be successful. I'm not sure.
Во-первых, его братья-ингуши не поймут, и он это знает. Во-вторых, он сам такой человек. Спокойный, аккуратный, скромный, но как боец он никому не проигрывал. И его будет очень тяжело выиграть. С этой выносливостью, с этой борьбой, или его надо вырубать.
Кстати,
по-другому он как машина, он работает, да?
Вообще. Ты же вот знаешь Алана Пика хорошо.
Да, это связано тоже.
Yeah, so Evloev very hard to beat, but he only has like 3 split decisions in his last 3 fights, folks. But it's so hard to beat, man. Who's Muhammad? Is he talking about Bilal Muhammad? Oh my God, I just burped. Like, that was disgusting.
Что вот с Мухаммадом и с Мавсаром, потом у Макаева была ситуация, потом у Хамзата.
Is he talking about Bilal Muhammad? Oh, Bilal Muhammad, the same guy that literally is the most unlikable fighter in like the UFC right now. Because all he does is literally talk down on everybody for no reason. To the point where he has beef with Alexander Volkanovski. I don't think he's talking about Bilal Muhammad, by the way, because Bilal Muhammad is not Russian. He's Muslim, but he's not Russian. But I'm just saying, like, let's just throw in that random Bilal Muhammad trade. Fuck it. Fuck Bilal.
Да вот это все, вот, она как-то там Khamzat не мог полететь подраться в Америке. Там, и вот такое впечатление, она рисуется.
Yeah, he can't fly to the U.S. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with who he hangs around, who he's best friends with, who he literally is on video with. And I know he doesn't have much of a choice with the whole Kadyrov thing. I know. But I'm just saying. He's also a scammer, by the way. Let's not forget to bring that up. Khamzat Chimaev with the whole Smash coin tried to scam his fans. I don't know if you guys remember that. Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing. Oh, he can't fly to the U.S. Yeah, that's the UFC's fault. They're forcing him not to be able to fly to the U.S. Fucking retard. Anyways.
Вот с Тамби у нас Мавсар был, когда мы тоже говорили, что у Мавсара все есть. Весь арсенал. Вот не хватает команды. Команды, как у тебя, вот как ты создал команду. Вот единственный момент вот этот был. И если вдруг он обратится там, помощью тебе.
Приезжает, вообще никаких проблем.
Условно говоря, чемпионский бой.
Вообще никаких.
Быстро пройдемся вот по прогнозам еще.
Right, yeah, so I think they're about to predict Khamzat versus DDP. I'm actually curious to hear Khabib's breakdown of this fight. I can kind of guess what he's going to say, but let's listen.
Вот ближайший бой Khamzat Плесsis. Все говорят, что Плесsis, он большой, в борьбе неплох, вроде не было соперников.
Не думаю, что он больше Khamzat.
He hasn't faced top guys. He's faced more top guys than Khamzat. I mean, like, yeah, Khamzat beat what, Usman and Whitaker, sure. Usman he took to a fucking I think that should have been a draw. It should have been a draw, maybe. The Whitaker one, okay, you got to give him credit for that, even though that was I don't know, man, because that one's a weird one, too, where it's like he didn't even have the choke in and Whitaker just, like, fluke taps. It was like, oh, he just crushed Whitaker's teeth with a light squeeze. It wasn't even in. The hooks weren't in the legs. He didn't have it around the neck, around the jaw, nothing. He had it a bit around the jaw, but it wasn't even like he had the hooks in properly. I'm just saying, guys. Plessis fighting a guy like Strickland and outstriking Strickland in the rematch, submitting Adesanya, you know, I don't know. I think that's decently impressive. You know, it's not like their resumes are super far apart, though, but I'm just saying, like, split with fucking Usman, war with Gilbert Burns, you know. Yeah, but DDP hasn't faced top guys, though, folks.
Во-первых, ростом выше, во-вторых, по весу.
Oh, and he also KO'd Robert Whitaker. I almost forgot about that fight. So, again, one of Khamzat's best wins, DDP has KO'd. But, you know, I think DDP's win is a bit more impressive because it doesn't involve someone's teeth completely caving in, but it is what it is. Let's skip ahead to 145 here. He's going to predict, I believe, Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makachev. I'm actually, I saw this on Twitter first, right? And I thought he had a very interesting kind of take on this fight. Let's listen here.
Вот Ислам против Мадалены, вот.
Очень высококлассные бои. В этих боях вот маленькая ошибка будет стоить всего. Вот чуть-чуть ты ошибешься.
Ты думаешь, что вот почему-то все, я слышу, что говорят, Ислам явно фаворит. Ну, как будто Мадалена, вот.
Не, брат, мы так не считаем.
I don't think Islam is a clear. I've never seen anyone say Islam is a clear favorite. I don't know what the Russian Steiny is seeing, but I don't see that. I'm picking JDM. I've seen a couple other MMA YouTubers say that, I've seen like Bedtime and Guru like kind of say they think JDM is winning as well. So I don't know. I mean, I know I'm not a big MMA YouTuber, but I'm saying like I've seen other YouTubers who also happen to be big MMA YouTubers say that JDM is going to win. So I don't really see a lot of people kind of banking on Makachev. I can guess who's going to pick Islam Makachev. I can guess, what kind of MMA YouTuber is going to pick Makachev. I'm just saying it's they always pick Ankalaev. They're going to pick Khamzat to beat DDP. They pick Bilal to beat JDM. I'm just saying there's a pattern with certain MMA YouTubers. Let's keep going.
Я так не считаю. Я считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере.
Very interesting coming from Khabib himself. Honestly, the coach of Islam Makachev, one of the main coaches. Very interesting. I agree. I do think JDM is going to beat Makachev, but I agree that he is the toughest matchup thus far for Islam Makachev. I mean, he's bigger than Makachev in my opinion. Not in my opinion. I think objectively he is, right? I think he is much bigger than Makachev. He's a true 170-pound man. He's got good striking, good grappling. He can punch on the back foot, on the front foot. He can move forward. He's got good scrambling ability. He's got great get-ups. He's smart on the feet, on the ground. He's got great 5-round cardio. Every attribute possible. On Makachev, he's probably at this point going to be JDM's hardest fight. Though I don't know, because JDM, I think he's probably going to TKO Makachev. So I'm just saying, I'm really excited for this fight, but pretty interesting coming from Khabib himself saying that, but he's not wrong. So
ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Мое личное мнение, во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше.
Yeah, he's... I've seen a lot of people say this too, where it's like, oh, well, Makachev, he moved up to face a harder version of Ilya. But it's like, but JDM and Ilya are not the same. Like, I would say Ilya has better jiu-jitsu, way better jiu-jitsu, more proven jiu-jitsu as well. He likes to grapple himself. And his style of striking is not exactly the same as JDM's because he is a bit stockier and shorter. So he does like to get on the inside a little bit more, get in the pocket a little bit more. He throws a lot more low kicks, I would say, but JDM does throw a lot of kicks. But I think Ilya utilizes the calf kicks a little bit better than JDM, and the body shots are pretty accurate for Ilya. Like, I don't know. I don't think they're exactly the same, where it's like JDM is just a bigger white Australian version of Ilya. I don't really agree with that take, but I have seen that a lot, so.
Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус.
He is taller and bigger. His boxing is just as good. I wouldn't really say that. I think he's a smudge behind Ilya, but I also think it's because JDM. You know what I'll say? JDM is a better kickboxer than Ilya. Ilya is still a better pure boxer. That's my take. I think JDM, he mixes in the kicks. Obviously, he throws a lot of high kicks, and he'll throw like an occasional wheel kick and an occasional elbow and stuff like that, Whereas I think Ilya is just a pure like calf kick, jab, left hook, right hook, two to the body. Like, he's just a pure boxer with the calf kick, basically, is Ilya's striking compared to JDM's.
Хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Для меня, если я например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалены, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалена намного больше.
Very interesting coming from Khabib. I think this is pretty interesting. I think this was a good inclusion in this video. It was worth not skipping over this, basically, because it's pretty interesting hearing Khabib himself say that JDM, he's more worried about JDM than he would be about Ilya. But the fact that he's even worried about JDM in the first place, and the fact that he's honest about it, is pretty interesting, I gotta say.
А вот как думаешь, что дальше для Ислама? Вот что дальше? Мадалена пройден. Просто чуть вперед глянем.
А кто там есть?
А вот никто не понимает, да. Как
есть
будто бы...
Гарри, есть Шавкат, есть Камару.
Ну, все равно, ты же как-то не все понимаешь, что не
Брат,
тот уровень.
Очень тяжело мне за Моделину смотреть.
Да?
Да, он хороший боец. Но если представим гипотетически, то я думаю, что может нарисоваться...
Khabib's energy towards his JDM, I don't know, it's very interesting. He's pretty like... I don't know, his energy towards the JDM fight is pretty interesting. Obviously, he's confident his guy is going to win, but I'm just saying, like, it's... He seems a bit, you know, I don't know, he seems a bit, like, shaken up by the aura of even saying JDM. He's, like, shooken up. But let's skip ahead to, like, about 148. So, I believe here he's going to discuss Umar versus Merab.
Момент, когда ты был
I have the notes here to the right, that's why I look over.
Увидел, блин, я просто... Это такой, наверное, шок был даже для зрителей ММА, когда Мерабу проиграл Умар. И вот этот нолик.
That wasn't really a shock to me, folks. I mean, look, I did pick Umar to beat Merab. I think that was the general consensus from most MMA fans is that, you know, Umar is going to be the guy to beat Merab. I regretted that pick, to be honest. Like, the day of UFC 311, I wanted to change my pick, but obviously, you know, I couldn't because the video was already out. But I really wanted to change my pick because the more I thought about it, especially the day of, I said, bro, really... Umar's best win is a close fight with Corey. I mean, it wasn't close, but it was like a pretty dull fight with Corey Sandhagen. Whereas Merab, his best wins are like Aldo up until that point, and Peter Yan and O'Malley. And Cejudo, who he out-grappled. So, it was one of those where it didn't really shock me, you know, especially because it was relatively close, but it wasn't... Bro, if you guys, it's actually funny. I saw like a TikTok or like an Instagram or something like last night where it was like Umar's reaction. Umar really thought they were gonna say, no. Like he reacted like, I don't know. It's just funny. Him and Khabib, they really thought that. Khabib almost snatched the belt from freaking Dana. I don't know if you guys saw that, but.
Который держал, ну вообще, по сути у тебя все бойцы, они с ноликами. Насколько тебе было как тренеру сложно? Как-то вот найти слова поддержки для Умара. И Умару как ты...
Yeah, Umar, look, I know you're used to getting these close decisions. I know, and I know you're used to getting fed cans. You know what's crazy? I didn't even mention the fact that, oh my God, how did I forget this? When he was talking about the Russian fighters being mistreated, I'm sorry that I kind of forgot about this, but let's circle back a little bit to a previous point. When he mentions the Russian fighters being mistreated, I completely forgot to mention the fact that Umar is one of those Russian fighters that have not been mistreated whatsoever. Umar Nurmagomedov has literally been given everything from... I mean, the guy literally, I'm not even kidding, he was supposed to fight who? Corey Sandhagen, right? The fact that he was even given that fight to begin with is crazy. I'm pretty sure then it falls through. They then still rebook the fight. They don't move on, right? Because you see, usually the UFC does just kind of move on and then they'll just do something else. No, they said, no, we're booking this fight. And they did the same thing with Khamzat and Robert Whittaker. We're booking this fight. Which, by the way, Robert Whittaker was given Ikram Laskarov, who should have not been in there with Whittaker because Khamzat pulled out. And then they still booked the Khamzat Whittaker fight. They still rebooked it. And they did the same thing with Umar Sandhagen. Umar was not supposed to get that fight to begin with. He wins via boring decision. Then he gets a fucking title shot. And you want to talk about the Russian the Russian fighters are mistreated. Anyways, let's keep going.
Со стороны, когда ты видел его.
По-любому, да, каждому бойцу по-разному подход бывает. Вот к Исламу и к Умару у меня один подход не бывает. Или Усману, или к Исламу, или там...
Okay, I don't care. Let's skip ahead to 151. So he's going to... By the way, if you're a UFC president for a day, so he's going to talk about how he would change the UFC. I'm very interested in what he's going to say here, folks. I wonder what he's going to say. Brother, what I would do is I would get rid of strikers and American fighters and only Russian fighters is what I think he's going to say. But no, all jokes aside, let's go.
Если бы ты был, кстати, на день президента UFC, что бы ты изменил бы?
На день?
Да, вот президент UFC вообще. Что бы ты сразу...
Исправил?
Да, исправил.
Я бы правила поменял бы.
Какими ты сделал бы их?
Ну, я сделал бы, ты заходишь в октагон, там, простой бой 15 минут, чемпионский 25, да?
Да.
Раундов не было.
Да.
О, как этот...
So he's taking the Joe Rogan approach. No rounds. He wants no rounds, right? He just wants people to just... He wants us to literally feel like a street fight. I've always been against this approach of like, you know, because Rogan has said this. The whole idea of no rounds is very silly because I know Pride FC did it, but it's just like, it's just silly to me, man. It's a sport. At the end of the day, if there was no rounds, it would just be like, I don't think it would be good. You would just see, imagine a no rounds heavyweight fight, a no rounds light heavyweight fight, or a no rounds middleweight fight. How shit those guys would be. How shit those fights would be. I'm sorry, a no rounds women's fight? Come on, bro. It doesn't really do nothing for me. I'm sorry. It just doesn't.
Просто
это,
вот
кстати,
зашел...
новое направление может такое быть.
Но в прайде
у меня всегда было в голове, зачем раунд нужен? Для чего это
вообще? Это ты говоришь,
я понял, что...
представляешь?
Это entertainment, ты останавливаешь, там какую-то рекламу там, и так далее. Я понял, для бизнеса.
Да.
Но если говорить про спорт, я бы убрал бы раунды. Вообще не было бы раунда. Вот они зашли, все.
Это этот, как это, валитуда, да, называется?
Валитуру.
Кажется,
а было вообще такое, да?
Ну, в прайде было,
в прайде
первый
10
раунд 10 минут,
потом 5.
Да, 5. А есть еще, по-моему, это бразильская валитуда, где, ну, оно 30 минут.
Ну, они там и головой били. Там,
да. Там
не, правила должны быть. По-любому,
один
там,
выходит.
Пах не бит, затылок не
бит. Okay, fair to Khabib. He's not doing the Joe Rogan of, they should allow headbutts. They should allow headbutts and kicks to the groin like Joe Rogan be like. Bro, Joe Rogan thinks that they should allow elbows to the back of the head. There should be no rules. We should allow people with guns in the fucking cage and knives. That's Joe Rogan's approach to MMA. We should allow people with bazookas. We should allow Jon Jones to fight butt-ass naked. That's what Joe Rogan's ideal world would be. It would be Jon Jones versus Khalil Roundtree over and over again. Because I don't know if you guys know this, a little side tangent here. Joe Rogan has Khalil Roundtree on once again, even though he's not a champion, he's kind of a top contender. But I just think it's funny that he'll have Khalil Roundtree on, but not guys like Armin Tsarukyan, Paddy Pimblett, or Justin Gaethje again, or Dustin Poirier again. No, but we got to get Khalil Roundtree on to talk about his Muay Thai stories and the fact that he used to be fat. Nonetheless, side rant there, but let's keep going.
Там и так далее, да. Но я бы поставил, чтобы раундов не было.
Только это? А вообще Дана советует с тобой вот по каким-то решениям? Просто мне кажется, ты единственный боец за историю UFC, кто прям вот в кухне побывал, там, условно говоря, я не видел, что боец мог благодарность там отметить братьям Фертита.
Shut the fuck up. All right, that's it, I think. All right, so we're going to end the video here with this. Khabib Nurmagomedov, this whole interview, I thought, there were some parts I actually agreed with what Khabib said, but there was a lot of parts I thought were just silly from him, and I think this was kind of, he had a lot of narratives and a lot of points in this video that not just he shared, but a lot of his fans and a lot of people who support the Khabib type of fighters also share those same points and also share those same feelings. So I just wanted to do a video on this, but we're going to end with this. So I just wanted to end with the fact that I found it pretty interesting that Khabib Nurmagomedov, we can mute this here, refused to shake this woman's hand. So he shakes this guy's hand.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to the show. Apologize. Thank you so much.
And this poor lady apologizes for extending her hand to Khabib. So I guess it's haram in Sharia law. Now, what I find interesting, I don't know too much about Sharia law, and I don't know too much, and I'm not gonna sit here and crap on any religion or anything like that. But what I am gonna say is this, all right? Look, I'm stuttering, I'm stammering, because Khabib Nurmagomedov, it's against whatever to shake this woman's hand for whatever reason. He could shake all these guys' hands, but he can't shake this woman's hand. But what's very interesting is Khabib, it's perfectly okay, and I'm not kidding when I say this. I'm not trying to make a joke. I'm not trying to be whatever. Has legitimately married his cousin. I'm not trying to make a joke here. It is legitimate. He's actually married his cousin. So I'm just saying, I can't shake your hand, lady, but I can marry my legitimate cousin. Now, whether she's a second cousin, third cousin, fifth cousin, I don't give a fuck. He's married to his legitimate cousin. I'm surprised it's not a goat, but it is his cousin. Nonetheless, let's keep going. Now, what I also found interesting, and make sure you guys follow me on X/Twitter at BXGMMA, but what I found interesting was Khabib posted this thing on his Instagram after Moroccan I guess he's like the president of France, or I don't know how it really works. He's the leader of France, the president of France. But there was this teacher that was beheaded and from this terrorist attack, and he called her a hero. And he said, like, she's a hero. She was a random lady, a random innocent lady, by the way, a random lady. And so Khabib then posts this guy with a shoe print on his face, and he says, "May the Almighty disfigure the face of this creature and all of his followers who, under the slogan of freedom of speech, offends the feelings of more than 1.5 billion Muslim believers." Oh, I'm fucked. I'm going to be fucked after doing this video. I'm kidding. I said nothing about Muslim people. I'm only shitting on Khabib, all right? But anyways, may the Almighty humiliate them in this life and in the next. Allah is quick in holding to account, and you will see to it. All of this because this guy said the lady that got beheaded from terrorists was a hero, and you're doing all this? We are Muslims. We love our blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so, yeah, Khabib is a fucking retard. That's all I got for you guys today. I wanted to throw that in at the end because, you know what, if I'm going to make we've been here for 40-something minutes. If I'm going to make a 40-something minute video on Khabib, I might as well throw in some extra spice. Like and sub, become a member in the description. Peace.